Okay, everybody, we're going to continue our review for the test. And so on this problem, you do g of 1 first. So you go to 1, you go to g, and you get 3. And then f is on the outside, so you say f of 3. So you go to 3, go to f, and you get 3. So that's the way it works. Now you do f of 2, and so that's 0, then you go to 0, and then you go to g, and so you get 4. And on this one you have f of 1, so f of 1 is 2, f of 2 is 0. And g of 4 is 2, and g of 2 is 2. One other thing I wanted to mention before I go any further. Made a slight error yesterday. The work was right on this one. It was number 10C, where you go x to the 4th to the 4th and gets x to the 16th. But x to the 4th is really g, and so I needed g circle g, not j circle j for that one. So sorry about that. Okay, so again we have 3402. Okay, so number 12, for the given functions, write the formulas for f circle g and g circle f, and then do your domains. So for f circle g, that's like f of g of x. And so your f function is this squared, and then we need to put this in parentheses. And there's no extra simplification needed. You don't have to use FOIL. So that's actually just it. Okay, now for g circle f, we have g of f of x. So your g function is 8 minus 5 square root, and then in place of x you're going to put x squared, and so that really turns into 8 minus 5x. The domain for the first one is probably going to be all reals greater than or equal to 0. Let's just take a look at the graph. It's usually a good idea to do that when you're dealing with domain and range. So we have 8 minus 5 square root x squared. 8 minus 5 square root of x squared. Okay, so if I look at my table, there is a value for 0, and it's 64. There's not a value for -1. And so even though it kind of looks like 0 would not be included, it actually is. And that's why I checked mathematically also. If you put a 0 in here, you get 8 squared, which is 64. So it does include 0, so that'd be 0, comma, infinity. And then for this one, since it's linear, this would just be negative infinity to infinity. Okay, so for the one that had 0, comma, infinity, looks like our lowest value is 0. But I can't tell for sure in the table. So I get rid of the table, I go to Menu, Analyze Graph, Minimum, between here and here. And sure enough, at 2.56 it does hit 0. So the most important part of that is not the 2.56, in this case, is the 0. So 0 is a value for y, and so from 0 up, so 0, infinity. And then the range for the linear function was all real numbers. Okay, so that's like 1, 2, 18. Now this one you have 3 graphs. It says y equal x squared is shifted to 2 new equations. The A graph is just higher, and it has a minimum at 4. So this would be y equal x squared plus 4. The most important part about this is it says equation, and so make sure you put y equal. And then on the other one, it's down 3, so it's y equal x squared minus 3. Okay, the next one, shifting this down 2 units and right 2 units, the equation would be 1 over x minus 2 minus 2. That's the easiest way to think about it, because right means minus, because it's always the opposite of what you originally would have thought. X minus brings it to the right, and then this minus, which is random, separate, is a vertical shift down. So let's graph it to be sure so we don't make a sign mistake. 1 divided by parentheses x minus 2 close parentheses minus 2. So that does indeed move your vertical asymptote and horizontal asymptote. This is going 2 and 2. So that would be the D graph. Okay, last page. This one just says graph the function. It's shifted up 5. So there's a couple of choices we can rule out easily. It's also shifted right 2. So this one, it's going to be the A graph. Control up arrow gives you this. This is where you can type in the third root or cube root, x minus 2 and then plus 5. So that's the one. Okay, now this one says compressed horizontally by a factor of 6. So the horizontal compression goes in front of the number, but you can't just put 6 there because it's under a square root sign. So this would be square root 1 minus 36 x squared. Because based on this, you have to say square root of 36. Okay, and then can a function be both even and odd? It's going to be yes, because of 0. So when you think about f negative x 0, then you just get 0. So anyway, that's both even and odd. So it's symmetric to the y-axis, and it's symmetric to the origin. And here I just wanted to remind you, if C is on the outside, it stretches vertically. If it's 1 over C f of x, it compresses vertically. So the vertically has to do with the outside of it. And then if it's horizontally, if it's Cx, that's a compress. And if it's x over C, it stretches. Okay, have a good one.